Yo, what is good YouTube? I am Richie Kim, and today I'm going to be bringing you all the performance review on Jason Tatum's second signature sneaker with Jordan brand, the Tatum 2. Before we get started, if you all enjoy sneaker content just like this, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below, and also hit that bell notification button so you never miss another video just like this. But anyways, let's get right into it. As always, starting off with the traction, the Tatum 2 features like this multi-pod traction pattern, and within these pods you do have like this herringbone, and the rest of the areas are pretty much foam with some rubber scattered in between. And yeah, the traction on here is just not great. If you are playing on your clean courts, you won't have issues per se, but I wouldn't say you have like a super aggressive bite or anything. You will still probably like slide to a stop, which kind of sucks. You might have some instances where you do get a pretty decent bite. But yeah, I mean, that's just my experience. If you are playing on your dustier courts, like your 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness, typical gym courts, y'all is gonna be struggling on this one. This thing is a dust magnet, and I will say that over time, the traction did perform a little bit better, but it still collects a lot of dust. And if you don't wipe, you're going to be sliding to a stop. And it's not going to be a small slide. It's going to be a pretty big slide to a stop. So make sure if you are playing on those dustier courts, keep up those consistent wipes, because you're going to have issues if you don't. Overall, yeah, the traction on here was not good. And I would say it's definitely like the biggest downside to the shoe. So moving on to the cushion, you do get like this full length foam. I'm not exactly sure what type of foam it is, but I'm going to assume that it's like a 5-on. But on the inside is what counts, and you get a full length air strobel, and it is very, very comfortable. If you all have played in any shoe with an air strobel, like the Zions or the PG4, I think. Yeah, I mean, air strobel is very, very comfortable. I would say it is a good balance between having impact protection and court feel and responsiveness. Like, I think this is literally like right in the middle between those things. So yeah, I mean, if you like a balanced cushion setup, this is great. I personally really enjoyed it. It is very, very comfortable, and I honestly have no downsides to, air strobel. It's just an overall very, very nice cushion setup. So moving on to the materials, the Tatum 2 features a full mesh upper, and the mesh on here is, I mean, it's not the best in terms of the quality, but it does get the job done fairly well in terms of performance. Yeah, it just doesn't feel the best, I guess, but it's definitely by no means the worst. So take that as you will. That mesh basically encompasses like this entire shoe. You do have like these random areas of like this like textile pods, and yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why it's there in terms of like why they chose this material, but yeah, I mean, it's just there basically. On the medial side, this black part is some sort of textile material as well, which is different than on the lateral side because this is actually foam. As you move towards the tongue, you do have a mesh tongue with like an adequate amount of padding, I guess. So if you do like to crank down your laces, you won't feel the laces digging into your foot. And they also give you wide laces as well, or these wide flat laces, I should say, just to make sure that you are as comfortable as possible if you do crank down your laces. So yeah, overall, the material usage on the shoe, not the best in terms of the quality, but in terms of the performance, it gets the job done just fine. So moving on to the fit, I would say that the Tatum 2s do run true to size. Personally, I would say it is a narrow shoe. I'm a slightly wide footer. I went true to size, and there is some pinching pain up in the forefoot area. For me, it kind of went away over time, but you do still feel the pressure occasionally. And that's basically because these materials can break in, but this foam right here, if your foot is already touching this foam and kind of pressing against that foam, it's really not gonna go away. If you have wide feet, you might want to go up a half size, but everyone else I would say is fairly good going true to size. If you do have narrow feet and you want a super snug fit, you could potentially go down a half size. But I would say for the majority of people, true to size is the way to go. I wouldn't say that this toe box is the most snug. I would say there is a slight amount of dead space up in the toe box area, just very, very minimal. But yeah, everywhere else, the fit is good. This does feature a half booty upper, which further enhances the fit. So yeah, overall, the fit in the Tatum 2 is good. Just be careful because it is a narrow shoe. So moving on to the support, the Tatum 2 had pretty much no issues with the support, honestly. You do have an internal heel counter. You don't have like too much heel sculpting, but I personally never had any heel slippage in the shoe. As far as the side-to-side movement on the footbed goes, I had absolutely zero of that. The Tatum 2 does a great job of making sure your foot is planted on that footbed. You do have the foam that wraps up onto the side of the shoe with these pods as well, which just makes sure that your foot is nice and protected and not, it's nice and secure basically. So your foot's not sliding around. As far as lateral movements are concerned, you do have like a decently wide base, and this does protrude out a little bit to kind of act as, like an outrigger. So yeah, I never had any instances of, that feeling of rolling over on those hard lateral movements. So you are covered there as well. And then in terms of the torsional rigidity and stability, this is a very, very stiff shoe, and it is very noticeable. And I think it's because of how they just like incorporated like all these like foam pods and stuff, or maybe there's even an outrigger in here. But yeah, I mean, this is a very stiff shoe. Like, as you can see, like even trying to bend it like this, it's just not budging. Torsionally, you also have that same issue. So yeah, I mean, this is a very stiff and rigid shoe. So yeah, overall support in the Tatum 2 was perfectly fine. The Tatum 2 retails for $125, and for $125, I'm sorry, but personally, I really just can't recommend this shoe. And the main reason for that is because of the traction. The traction is obviously, it's like the foundation of the shoe. It's what connects you to the court. And if you don't have good traction, you're just not gonna have a good time. So I would say the only way that these shoes are like really good is if you are playing on like the cleanest of courts. And you don't mind, not having like stop on dime type of traction. But, most of us, we're not playing on the cleanest of courts. We're playing on our local gym courts. And if you are one of those people, you're going to struggle because this thing just picks up dust. And even after you wipe, you still have like not the best traction. You're going to be sliding to a stop, which is just something that you don't want. On top of that, the material usage on here, yeah, it's fine in terms of the performance, but the quality, I really wish it was better. But because of how they designed the Tatum 2, the material choices, the way they just incorporated everything into the shoe, it is a very, very light shoe. So that is one big pro to the shoe. Also, the air strobel is very, very comfortable. But yeah, overall, it's just not it for me. Traction was not great. Also, this is a very, very stiff shoe. So yeah, I don't want that in my shoe. Like, I would like some sort of flexibility. There is a fine line of being like, a shoe being too unsupportive and also being very comfortable and not stiff. And this is just on the way opposite end of the spectrum. This is a very, very stiff shoe. So yeah, for $125, I wouldn't recommend the Tatum 2. But if you all did want to give it a try, I'll leave a link for you down in the description box below. But that's pretty much it for this performance review. If you all liked the video, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. And also smash that thumbs up button for me, as it really does help me out. While you all are at it, check out these videos over here, and that's pretty much it. Until next time, peace.